What's up everybody, Derek here, and I am down on the river today, but I wanted to go over my top 5 creek and river fishing lures that have kind of been my go-tos this year. Anytime I go creek fishing or river fishing, I'm pretty much going to probably be throwing these 5 lures. Now, you may have different lures that work for you in your area, but this is just kind of what works for me. And my number 1 go-to is the Beetle spin. If you watch any of my videos, you know that I'm going to be throwing this lure because I don't know what it is about these Beetle spins. I just started picking them up within the last year again. I fished them when I was a little kid and they caught fish, and I remember them catching fish. So I went to Walmart and I decided to get some more of these in the 1/8 ounce range and go throw them because they do nothing. You throw it out, you reel it back real slow, just get that spinner going, and a fish will just come up and annihilate it. These are definitely, if you are having trouble fishing and catching fish and you know you're beginning and you want to learn how to fish and where the fish kind of position, this is a lure that will bring them out and they'll kind of reveal where they're at, and you will catch them. And you will catch big ones too. Don't expect only little fish to hit these things. They're great lures. All right, there's the Beetle spin. All right, let's say the fish aren't as aggressive and they are following those spinner baits and those crankbaits and all the moving lures that you could be throwing out in the water. Well, this lure right here will bring them in. If you look at it, it looks like a little bitty minnow. That's because it really kind of mimics one. I've caught a lot of good fish on this, but it's a do-nothing lure. So if those fish aren't hitting the Beetle spin, which is kind of rare, honestly, but if they aren't, you throw this thing out, just toss it out, and just really don't do a whole lot with it. Don't pop it, don't do nothing. Just slack line, let it fall on its own. You get a light jig head, throw it out there. You can even fish these with bobbers, but just slow reel it, keep your slack up, and fish will come and hammer these things. They're great right around current. They're one of the ways out of current and right off the current in those eddies to catch a lot of fish, and panfish and catfish and bass. I've caught so many fish on these things, but give one of these a try. It's a Nico caddy fly is what it is, but you can get a lot of little bitty grub worms and other stuff, wax worms, that will look very similar, but this Nico one, I mean, the plastic on these things is ridiculous. You probably will end up catching 200. So I get mine on Amazon. That might help you out right there if you're not catching them too, and if you want to catch all of them. All right, this lure is my go-to for whenever I'm fishing current and I want those fish to come up and hit it, or if I'm fishing the edges of current and I'm pulling it up the current, and that's a rooster tail. This is a 1/8 ounce rooster tail. You can buy these at Walmart. They're super cheap, but they just got a little blade right there. But what's cool about them is they have a smaller profile than the Beetle spin, but they've got a treble hook on the back. So you won't have any trouble missing fish. You won't have any trouble if they come up and hit it. It's gonna pin them pretty good. But the cool part about these that I love using these is putting them in current or in the edges of the current where the drop off is, being upstream of that current and just letting it sit there, not even reeling it, just letting it sit there, raising my rod tip, lowering my rod tip, and those fish will come out from the deep stuff or in where that current isn't, and they will ambush this thing and they will eat it, and you'll catch a lot of fish doing it. But you'll kind of learn as you go down through creeks and rivers fishing along what to catch with one of these. So definitely give a rooster tail a try. All right, here's another movement bait, crankbait. Now this thing, a lot of crankbaits like a crick hopper, or this one in particular, I believe it's a Rebel, this thing will catch a lot of fish. As you see, it's got 2 treble hooks on there. But the cool thing about this thing is the wobble. This thing will get a lot of wobble, a lot of vibration, and you can bump it against wood. You can get it into the bottom of a creek or in the river, and you'll start to see, if you fish with one, you will see how the fish eat one of these, and you will not miss very many fish when they hit at this thing. So give a Rebel crankbait or a Strike King. Actually, this might be a Strike King now that I come to think about it. I think that is a Strike King. I got so many of these little crankbaits that are just like this, that are crappie style. They all catch fish. You just got to get the right one and fish it and see what helps. But this Strike King right here, it will help you catch some. All right, this last one, mainly bass fishing lure, but it will catch fish as well. This is a little Hellgrammite. This is a Nico Hellgrammite. John with Creek Fishing Adventures got me onto this thing a long time ago. I started fishing with it, just a little jig head put right up in the head of it, and it reminds me of a wacky rig Senko stick bait, really. Even though you're rigging it in the head with a light jig head, it falls really slow, and bass cannot stand it. So if you're right on current, right on the edges of current, and you throw this up against there, right where the drop-offs are, those fish will come out of nowhere and they'll come up and swipe at this thing, and you will catch a lot of good fish too, because it's got a little bit of size to it. This is our biggest bait right now in our top 5 that we're showing you for the creek and river. So if you want to catch more fish, these 5 lures are going to be some great ways on the creek, but also out on the river. The river is a great place to fish both of them. If you go around, I mean, Arkansas River, Mississippi River, and then you got a river like what's behind me right here, it's not even compared to those other rivers. So a lot of rivers, depending on where you're at, can actually be called creeks. So don't go upon the label of, oh, it's a creek, oh, it's a river. If you got current, you got drop-offs, you got shallow spots, those are the areas that you're going to be catching those fish a majority of the time with these 5 lures. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.